Welcome back to the Risen Farmers Market. I am Ashley Thompson with Sweet Tea Farm, and these are my daughters, Madeline Thompson and Hazel Thompson. Living down in the South, we love our gravy. We like our milk gravy and our brown gravy and even our chocolate gravy. But today we are going to be making tomato gravy. This can be served over hot biscuits, toast, or even grits. You're going to need 1 can of tomatoes, or you can dice up your own. Since it is gardening season, we have a lot of tomatoes right now. You're going to weigh it out to be 14.5 ounces, just like a can of tomatoes would weigh. You will also need 1 1/3 cups of chicken broth. You could substitute vegetable broth. I like to use Better Than Bouillon. This is a creamy, concentrated broth that you just add to boiling water. It's 1 teaspoon per cup, so I used a little more than a teaspoon. You will need bacon grease, or you could substitute that with vegetable oil. But of course, we're gonna have some flavor and add bacon grease. 3 tablespoons of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to get started by dicing our tomatoes. We are also going to peel the tomatoes. In the skillet, I have put 3 tablespoons of bacon grease, and I'm going to turn this on so that it gets nice and melted. As you can see, I am using this funny looking whisk, and it's one of my favorite kitchen utensils, and it's perfect for making gravy. I have this on high heat right now just to melt this bacon fat. When it's nice and melted, I'm going to turn it down to about a medium heat, and I'm going to put in my 3 tablespoons of flour. When making gravy, you usually use equal parts of lard or oil to your flour. Now we're going to stir the flour around, and this will take a little while over medium heat. We want the flour to get nice and smooth, and then we want it to turn a brown, a pretty like copper brown penny color. And it's going to smell kind of nutty. It smells really good when it's cooking. It might bubble a little bit, that's okay. You just want to keep stirring it so that it does not burn. Okay, as you can see, we are starting to get a pretty brown color, and it smells real nutty. It's smoking a little bit. We don't want to let it get too brown. So now we're going to carefully pour in our chicken broth. Now, if you want this to be vegetarian, you can substitute this with a vegetable broth. I've even read recipes where you can put milk in here and have it a thicker milk type gravy. So this is looking done. When you pour in your chicken broth, be very careful. It's going to steam like crazy. I'm just making sure there's no clumps and make it nice and smooth. And now we're going to add our tomatoes. The kids did a great job dicing these up, and we're using juice and everything. They did peel the tomatoes, and it came to weigh 14.3 ounces, which is pretty equivalent to a can of diced tomatoes. So we're going to cook all of this together for about 5 minutes, and the gravy is going to start to get thick. I have cooked this for about 5 minutes, and now lastly I'm going to add my half of a teaspoon of salt. My salts, I have a mixture of pink Himalayan salt and sea salt, so it's got a little bit of a pretty pink tint to it. That's certainly not necessary. You can just use regular table salt and it'll be super delicious. The recipe also calls for half of a teaspoon of pepper, but I tell y'all, if I put any pepper in this, my children will see it and certainly not want to try it. But I'm gonna let this sit and cool. I have turned off the burner. As it sits, it will thicken slightly even more. So we're going to give it a taste here after it cools down just a little bit. I have my taste testing crew here, and we actually, instead of having biscuits, we've got some pretzel, soft pretzel balls that we're gonna dip in the gravy. All right, let's use this one.
I like it.
You like it?
Not really.
You like it? All right. Well, at least I've got 2 out of 3 that like it. It's like a gravy mixed with a tomato concentrated soup. It's really good, and I think it would be delicious over biscuits, even on grits. I hope that you try our recipe, and the recipe is in a link below to help you out a little bit. And making tomato gravy is as easy as that. Visit us at the Farmers Market in Rison starting at 5 p.m. Be sure to wear your mask and sanitize your hands before coming. See you there. I would like to give a shout out to the Green Family Farm in Warren for these amazing tomatoes. They're huge. Pick yours this week starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. Bring your 5-gallon buckets and enjoy.